in chapter 10 of Baruch Spinoza's Political Treatise, there's something he does touch on a little bit, and it's about, it seems like there was this understanding or belief in his time when he was alive, that amongst some people, not everyone, of course, that democracy was inferior to aristocracy. And those who held this view will say that the people elected through democracy, I can use the word pedigree, it doesn't use the word the pedigree really, but the way it describes it could be that that's where these people are coming from. Like, democracy allowed anybody to come to political office, and some people that was not right, because it didn't block out people who were not of the right pedigree to hold political office. And that's what he tries to talk about here. I'll read what he says. He says, and although of these recent dominions of this kind, that is where not the best, but those who happen by chance to be rich, or who are born eldest, are destined to govern, are thought inferior to an aristocracy. Yet if we reflect on the practice of a general condition of mankind, the result is in both cases will come to the same thing, which is so obvious. Like, even if you say that only people from a particular family can become political leaders, because then they have this pedigree, as it might be called by some people. But the human nature, especially when we think about genes, doesn't work like we always think, that if somebody is very intelligent, smart, then automatically they are going to have very smart kids. That's not how nature works. Some very intelligent people might end up getting kids who are not as intelligent as them, or have the same gifts. And then there are people who might not be very intelligent, but they might end up giving birth to kids who are very intelligent. So nature has its way of doing things in a way that we might not expect, even though some people who are in particular families who like to think like they have this pedigree, so that they are the only ones who can produce people capable of holding political office. Baruch says, but if you consider how nature works, at the end of the day, we end up with the same thing. If you are going to say that people from particular families have to rule, you might end up having the worst of the worst coming out of that family. The same thing with democracy. So he says, like, it's not an issue really. For patricians, we'll always think those the best who are rich or related to themselves in blood, or allied by friendship. And indeed, if such were the nature of patricians, that they were free from all passion and guided by mere zeal for public welfare in choosing their patrician colleague, no dominion could be compared with aristocracy. So it's basically explaining the same thing, that you trying to limit the people who come to political office based on their familial relationship or blood doesn't really translate to having only the best. And in fact, he says, when that is done in an aristocracy, it tends to often end up blocking the very best brains from power, because they simply were not born in the right family, but they have the mental capacity and the personal makeup that can make them very good leaders. So in comparing aristocracy and democracy, he tries to go through this question of pedigree, which interestingly, even in modern societies, there are people who still hold that view, that there are people who are born in particular families, and that kind of gives them, or they are then born with some abilities that can make them better leaders. And then if those others who are born in certain other families that are not considered to be high families, then maybe they don't have the right capacity to hold political office.